Hi, everybody. As you can see, having to adjust these as I'm getting on. You got the Lady Hippy this morning. I'm sorry, afternoon. Lord, I ended up going shopping this morning, so that's been fun. I enjoyed that. Mm. So, what's everybody got going on this morning? Yeah, my dude, go. Well, I've already gone shopping and experienced sheer terror. It's a 2.5 mile drive. Still sheer terror. It was foggy. People were coming around me like we were playing Mario. Was it Mario Kart? Yeah, Nintendo. Love those. Yeah. And the bigger ones that goes, and you got to clean your windshield. Yes, I can't see crap. I love that stuff. Mm, excuse me. I only indulge on these on occasion. Basically, this is my occasion. And I never smoke a whole one or anything like that because I did quit. So I don't want to actually pick up a whole habit thing going again. This time I'm trying to figure out, I got a couple questions and I'm trying to figure out what my jump off point might be. And once again, I've got the two monitors. One of these I'm actually using just to monitor the live chat. There may be another way to do that, and I'll figure that out as we go. If not, keep throwing the stuff in the comments. I'll get to it. Today, I tried to talk myself out of going to the store because it was not a good day out there. Like I said, foggy, gloomy, and spritzing water when the other cars weren't thrown in up from the street. Love that. I love that. hmm Hmm. I saw a lovely thing on Billy Carson. He has a new show, and he does forbidden knowledge, and that's what it is on YouTube. So you should go on over there, subscribe. I believe that may have a monthly price. I'm not quite sure, but he's written many books, and he does still have free webinars or however you want to call it on YouTube. So, and they're worth watching. This man has done his homework. So of all of them, he's another one that's on ancient aliens. Uh, I can't even think so. There's so many names on there, and I enjoy all those people. Most of them have a book. You can just, I see people post and paste in there. I don't do all that. I figure Google's going to tell you in a second. And meanwhile, I'm going to be up here typing for 4 hours to answer everybody. So, unless it's one of those type of comments, I'm figuring you've done gone to Google because you don't want to wait on me that long. So watching all that, I watched the ghost stories for 2023. And good grief. Now, I know we all have this new equipment. Wouldn't have done if I'd have been a kid with this stuff. Oh, we Lord. I began investigating the paranormal at the age of 9, which would have been 1968 or around thereabouts. So everybody gets a clue. Yes, she's old. Get over it. This is for entertainment purposes only, just as a happy reminder. So I saw my ghost stories, and some of them had me thinking, what's going on here? I know the equipment's better, the SLS camera and so forth. You pick up more, you can actually see it. But I've seen some that I never thought I would see, except maybe in Hollywood. There's these two boys. Dark Ghost is one. He's Russian. And the other one is Tim Morozov. They both have their own channels. And I believe that Dark Ghost actually opened up another one. I think it's Nerve Paranormal. But you pop over there and check them out. They have new content constantly. And they're one of my favorite. It's Lab Tam and them. But I've been investigating this for many, 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 many years. Long before anybody did anything about this except Ed and Lorraine Warren. And those guys were wonderful. And they, like me, were working with 1970s technology, which you guys probably have no idea of, but it's not easy to use and it's bulky. I remember the first transistor radio, so I'm trying not to get sidetracked here. So I'm watching all these ghost stories and I'm thinking this, that, and the other. I keep rosaries, even though I'm not a practicing Catholic anymore. Used to say I was the holiday Catholic because those were the days I would celebrate. And that's not right because I just don't believe in organized religion. I believe in religion and people have a right to believe what they want. On the atheist occasion, to not believe everything. I'm going to put this down because I think it may not be helpful much this morning. I'm trying to make sure I don't blow everybody's ears out because Robert brought me such a great system. And again, I got both chats open. If anybody wants to pump through there, I need a like. I'm asking everybody to love this. Just jump on and like it for a little bit. Give the old woman a break. I got a lot of cats. I'm just saying. So and hit that bell if you are interested. You'll get a free subscription. Again, I'm going to repeat that free subscription, and you can stop anytime you would like. So off we go again on the ghost thing. But it's not just ghosts, it's what they're calling now. I mean, when I was looking into this, they didn't even really have names. The one of them had the Hat Man, which I call them peekaboos, but everybody else call them shadow beings or shadow people because it's a silhouette of a person that seems to drink up the light. You can't, there's no light on it. It's dark in the dark and you see this thing. So that's scary enough. But I didn't know anything about them, and I thought I had studied many years. And when my son was in his 20s and we were living in another home, we were refurbishing my mother in law's home, my husband's, of course, mother, and my son's, as he put it, grandma, because he just adopted her and she was great about it. Um, so we go there because she's not doing well. She's in hospital. And so we decided we'll move down here so we can do this work. Needed new floors, new wiring, new paint, so it needed work. And we had to get to work and do all these things at the same time. So it's easier just to move in. And then my son and his wife had decided to see if they could stay with us so they could save up enough money for a down payment on a home, which turned out to be this home. This was their starter home. It didn't look like this. Robert has worked like crazy on it. And it's just beautiful, the work he's done. But it was very nice when they had it. I mean, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Uh, the guest bath upstairs connects to either rooms. Love the way they did that. We've kind of turned that into Robert's apartment because it started on it because he snores real loud because he went through stage 4 cancer. He beat it, another story, but they about burned his throat out, so he's very loud when he sleeps. And after a little while of earplugs and so forth, he decided to go ahead and buy a new set of bedroom furniture and start there. Put a refrigerator, microwave. We fitted it all out, And then we were going to start work on the other bedroom, which is to be my studio. Well, we've got one thing done. We haven't got the others done. Plus, it's been raining. It's been cold. It's still raining and foggy this morning, and so the tornado looks like it just came through. So that's always been fun. Yeah, so that's still there. So nobody's doing that either. I decided I would run out and do the grocery shopping this morning. Every nut in the world was on. It's probably my husband in the background. I think he's turned into Dr. Jekyll this morning. Never sure what that mood will be. You never know. Yeah. I don't know if I told anybody yesterday. I don't think so. But I opened the door and I have 2 doors to the house in the back, and I shut the kitchen door and I shut the utility room because I don't want my kittens to be on the utility room when I'm going in and out feeding those other kittens. And they have run in before. And then they get scared because the other door is closed and there's not that much room in there. And so when you open the door, this cat is flying out. Well, I forgot this yesterday. And a few days ago, my husband said, I heard crying. I couldn't figure it out because all the cats were eating. And we were out looking at the damage again and trying to figure out, pull things down and stuff. And he said, you hear that? I said, I did. It's not one of the usual cats. So we pinpointed it, found it. It was a little gray kitten about maybe 4 or 5 weeks old. Might even be a few months old, I'm thinking. But in any event, we grabbed a plate and we fed it immediately. And it came slightly out from under the patio deck, which is concrete. And I didn't think too much more about it because if we see we're going to feed them and there's the whole new greenhouse, it's not as what it was, but it's doable for this rest of this winter. But it didn't occur to me that this little one would not be able to get the food or water because the others have grown up here. and they might not want it to do that. So we found out yesterday that it didn't like that either. Because I opened the door to the kitchen, I forgot to close it. I opened the door to the utility room, fed everybody, and little Ghost, Robert's named him Great Ghost. He likes Ghost, to call him Ghost. So I kept hearing again the crying, and I looked over, and he had come out a little ways. And it is a domesticated cat; it's already been neutered, so probably about 4 months old. And any of it, he came out then because he was just starving. So I quickly grabbed a plate, gave it to him, made sure it was eating, and the other cats weren't attacking or anything, and had him off by himself where he could retreat. And I was upset because I didn't think he was finding a warm welcome, and I didn't know what to do, but make sure it was fed. And it was raining then. It's spritzing kind of rain, still rain, you get soaked. So I went up and I walked in, and little Greg goes shot past me through the house. And I'm old, I know. I don't move the way I used to, but you'd think I would have seen a cat on the run. I did. I saw this. It was like, did I just see? I wasn't sure at first. So, of course, I'm running through the house after the cat. And I realize I'm just scaring the cat worse. So I go on and I get the food that I have for him. And I bring that into the utility room. And he won't even come in there with me. And I'm like, oh, Robert's going to kill me because we have enough cats in the house. So I said, well, I got to have help. I got to get him. And I called for Robert. He come down. The cat ran straight up to him and stopped. He was fine after that. After that, we couldn't take him and throw him out because he was crying. And I've only seen, the commercial with the fireman holding a cat. The cat's crying. Yes, they have feelings, everybody, just so you know. It's one of the reasons why I don't understand why people don't help them. But we'll go back. I get over here and then over there. So literally, you have to give me a tie fix to get me to go from everywhere. So all these ghosts, and I'm thinking, why are these people ghosts? I'm not staying there. I might go to Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle and check them out. You know what I'm saying? Run around Scotland, have some really good scotch. I mean, I said I wanted to go on my tomb. Wait there a minute. I'll be right back. So they're probably running. So I mean, we're getting so much of this stuff and everything. So we had moved to my husband's house or his mother's house, and she was in hospital and then hospice. And so, she passed away, of course. And we kept the home. We were paying it off. I think it had one payment or two payments left. When suddenly the police were serving us, telling us we had to go. That the daughter had inherited the house and she wasn't selling it. And we went to court, even though we had I think it was one or maybe two payments of 200 on it. It was less than $500 that we owed, and we'd been paying on it 5-6 years. And they said no, she won. She won. Our money was just gone. That's all there was to it. So that was fun, yeah. And they happened about the same time, really, that we come this way, but. Uh, my son and his wife stayed with us to get the money to start, buying this home. And one day, he was 25 at this time, and he had a 5-year-old son as well. But his son stayed with his mother, except weekends maybe. And so he came flying out of the kitchen, jumped over the couch, and this is an old-fashioned house with the big, tall, I don't know what you would call them, door frames, because I mean the big square ones, and the ceilings are 14 foot. I mean, these are huge places, the huge rooms. So he had come through the French dining room doors, past all that, and ran the living room, and it had a hallway from off the living room. So we usually had a couch to kind of give it more spot there. And he jumped over that couch and sat down on me. And my kid he don't do that. He would have as a younger boy, a toddler maybe, but after that it was, oh, don't kiss me, mom, don't hug me, mom. And finally we made a compromise. He would pick me up all the time whenever he saw me. So I'm like, what is going on? Because this kid is like shaking from head to foot. I've never seen him like that. I've seen others like that, and they're terrified. They're petrified, actually. It was amazing he could run because he couldn't seem to speak. And I was like, what in the world? And we were all there. We were watching a movie. It might have been Lord of the Rings. I don't know. I was watching a movie. And this was 20 odd years ago. And he said he saw a black figure of a person standing in the kitchen watching him. And it had like smoky tendrils coming off it and stuff. So I had never heard about this before. So I went, I ramboed it, as one of the guys would say at Casper's site, Ben would. And that's another good site you should go and take a bell on. If you like to look at any of the ghost stories and have them get it for you, these are the guys to go to. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. And I've got my rosary and I got my holy water and I've got my holy oil and I've got me a sage stick. I'm trying to prepare for everything. I didn't get extra food. I just got symbolic stuff. The rosary's been, blessed by the priest. And yet I still am not organized religious. I do believe in certain powers that work. I can't quite say what they are or what they're not, but I do worry about that. Be careful lest you get the false church and the false prophet thing. So, I kind of take my little side gear out of it and deal with that. So, and my son's going, don't mind. He's 25. This child has never been like this. I've never seen him back down from anything, not even me, which he really should have. So, and it's in this kitchen, and again, this is a huge house. So I had picked up the necessary items, was trying to light the sage and spread some holy water while I'm walking into the kitchen. And there's nothing in the kitchen. There's nothing on but the lights. And these are like floodlights. And this is an old fashioned one, like the box kind of rooms, So you can see everything almost the same as you walk in, even though it's a big place. And I wasn't filming or anything. Smartphone had not come out yet. That was in 2010. So it was, I think, 2005 or 6. And I didn't even think to film. I just wanted to know what scared my kid that bad. And, and I was running to do some holy work, get out of my house. My kid's in here, didn't even think. So I'm in there, and I'm blowing down the sagebrush. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know what he could be talking about. I'd never heard of this. And since in the last 15 years, I'll say, and he won't talk about it anymore. He won't even admit he saw it now. I don't think I would at his age either, I must say, because we did not have a clue. And since all of this new equipment have come out, these things are popping out of the woodwork. I mean, they're everywhere. I've been calling them peekaboos. There's one on a plane. It keeps, sticking his head around. This guy is in there. He's filming. He's at night. He's a security guard. And somebody said they heard something from that plane. So this black thing, all you see is head and shoulders, and it's blacker than black. This is the middle of the night. This guy's using his flashlight on his phone to look, through the rows of the airplane, and this thing is like, can't you see me yet? So finally, I think and it was going like higher up the wall, to stick the head and shoulders out, and finally this guy. He sees it. He actually got it on film, He goes running out. So I started investigating this. And then the Shadow Hat Man came out. And there was a lot of different shadow guys. Some of them flew like they were little Batmans. It was the strangest looking thing. And I began to research it. But all I found in these years of researching is that the sightings of them are acquired a lot more time. There's more of them, or we're doing more to see that we do know them. At this point, I'm not sure which is which, but I do know that the first ghost hunters, besides Ed, Lorraine, and Warren, were literally the ghost hunters. They started out, they worked for Rosa Rooter, and I think they bought a couple of vans from them, and they were called Ghost Hunters, and then TAPS for something Paranormal Society. I can't remember what it is offhand. And they ran for 20 years on television. I videotaped them, so you can tell this is before and right after smartphones, because like Blockbuster was still open. And so I was like, so I'd like to see if anybody else has any comments on that, or if they've noticed it. I call them peekaboos because it's like they know they're going to get on camera. They know that these phones are cameras. And now the person who's doing this, the lights have all gone on. It's usually a woman alone, or even a dude alone and half drunk. I've seen them all. I mean, are in their home constantly. They'll be, uploading video after video after video, and finally getting static cams and setting them around and night vision. I mean, because they're going crazy trying to say, "Hey, I'm not crazy. This is really happening," and they just like to peek out at the camera, and then they make sure that the person or the camera has seen it, and then they go. And they're right there. I mean, and most of them are Rambo. They run right at it. Where it was at. See it's in the bathroom. There's no other place for it to go because there's nothing but that little hallway to bath. Isn't that new? Now, some of them have gone in where, and they are brave. I saw one janitor going in the door. She said, dum, dum, dum. It was one of those iron doors, and the guy kept going. I was like, oh, no, I'll sell tickets. I'm not going in there. So he goes right on in, and it's a locker room when he walks inside, and this black running form, running person. I mean, it's like it absorbs light. It's just so black, and it runs fast. And the guy, he never saw it, but the camera caught it. There have been live events where they've seen him running past. One was a tennis match, and it ran through and around a bunch of people. They caught it on live camera for the game. So these things are really taking place, and they're everywhere. And yet, and they'll do that peekaboo thing until I think it gets off on the fear thing, if you ask me, because it keeps doing it. And the person, like I said, who's wielding the camera or whatever they're using, uh, don't see it, and it's so dark. It's darker than dark, but you'll miss it. I've seen a video where people going, "Oh, the refrigerator door keeps slamming." It keeps slapping. It keeps slapping. They grab the 2-year old. They run out of the house, and they're still filming, but they're not really paying much attention. But as they go by, there's that black shadow dude standing in the corner. I mean, it's to me, it's getting frightening because there's more and more. It's every day you see new video of these things. So I would love it if anyone would like to talk about either the Shadow Man or the Hat Man. Give me a call. I see on my other camera I've got my hand up where my face is, which is probably a good thing for most of you viewers. I'm tired. I went running out with people today. I don't do good with people. I just don't do good with people. Mm, excuse me. That's good. Um, I love doing Walmart, but it's so cute. They ask us, which I just cracked a bunch of cashiers up there, but although why they're called cashiers, I don't know, because we, the people, are doing our own groceries and ringing them up and bagging them up and so forth. We are the untrained, unpaid new cashiers. And so, you gotta love this. So here I am, I'm going around through, and I say this because the 5-star rating comes up. The girls know me. It's like going down that old show Cheers. You walk in and everybody goes, "Hey, Wanda," or whatever. And so they all know me. And most of them will run up to see what I'm wearing. They say they've never seen me wear the same thing twice. It's not my fault. They don't work every day. I may not go for 2 weeks. So, I go in there. I end up talking to folk up in there too, which is always fun. It slows me down. So by the time I get done, it's nice to see everybody, but I get tired. And it's, where'd you get the coat? Where'd you get it's cute stuff. I mean, it really is. And someone called me mom, and I told them if they went any higher than that, they were fired. So I'm rating the 5-star thing, and I'm rather loud. I'm from the north, and a veteran, an army veteran, so I'm just loud. And so I'm in there, and I'm done. I've got everything bagged, and I look up, there's my rating. How do you rate today's service? Of course, I'm going to give that sucker a 5. I am today's service. Who am I supposed to be rating? I have to rate me. And none of them did nothing. I know I like the girls. I mean, and they would if they had something to do. I can't believe they're still hanging on. Anything for them to do, bless their hearts. But that's a boring job. Those 8 hours must take like 3 weeks to get by. I even love my work, and it still took 4 days to get through a day. I don't know about today's workers. I mean, I'm glad I'm retired. I'll put it that way. Mm. And my grandson and his mother, Lindsay, are also interested in that. And so is my daughter-in-law, Brandy. Actually, so is my granddaughter. She's a little young. My little Zoe. She'd be 12 this year, though. She looks like I mean, she's my height probably by now. I just saw her at Christmas. And while she's in school, I try not to, you know, get in their schedule, let her eat and do her homework and chill before she goes to bed. So I get them on the weekend if I'm lucky, if they haven't got something to do. And I remember doing all my stuff on the weekend and still working usually, at least one of the jobs. So if everybody could get back to me on that one, you could check out those people that I mentioned and go and see their channels. Again, do at least a like if you're not going to tickle the bell. Hit like if you liked it. I found it was more difficult than doing until I started actually putting out my own podcast. And I realized that you have to actually aim the remote at your TV, arrow over to the like button. It's hard. But try to do it anyway, okay? You really push for that because for some reason they do like to get you past 1,000. And I don't pay for my channel, at least not yet. Be quiet because the IRS might catch on. You just never know which way they're going. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to start. I have yet to reverse the systems because I'm looking over to see how live chat's going. And I like to do a quick edit through it sometime in the afternoon and then throw it up on Facebook, see if it sticks to the wall over there. I used to have a lot more friends, but I hadn't been on Facebook lately, and I intend to continue with my podcast. I like this. I can't wait to see how we get some other things going on. Once we hit that 1,000 and I can start a Patreon club, we'll start being able to sell a little merchandise here and there, T-shirts or however. I rather like Lady Hippy. I am a hippie. I've seen some other sites. These girls are 18. They wouldn't know a hippie if it walked up and tried to kill them. I just and there's no way they could be a hippie. Those things are not permissible now. You really cannot walk down the street without a shirt on, totally wasted, and drinking a beer and having a cigarette while talking to your friend who's also in hot shorts but did keep the bathing suit top on. That is an old hippie. Now, I can't say I went that far, but I did like the hip huggers. And the mini shorts were awesome. But by then I was already in the military. So I was always in a military uniform. I didn't have an 8-hour day. I had like a 14-hour day. So the time you got done, you'd think you'd be smart enough to go on in and shower. Oh, no, no, no. I brought my dress with me, whatever I was wearing, and my other pair of shoes. And, before I was even on the bus across the campus, I call it campus, across the base, I had already changed, gotten out of the suit, was going to the club and go dancing. No wonder I don't remember half of the 20s because I never paid for a drink. So I really never kept up with how many of those things I was having. But it was a real hoot. It was a real hoot. And they were all such gentlemen. They really were. And they watched over the ladies as well as respecting us for who we were, which were soldiers just like them. And we treated them as brothers because that's what they were. And we all had each other's back. And I still miss that to this day. And it's been a while that I've been just a veteran. And that's how you end up thinking about it, because there are people out there in the last 20 years that we've lost quite a few soldiers, and they don't say anything about that. They're not mentioning the IDF's losses, but they're throwing the three, children, God forbid, that were killed in a bomb strike. Well, it's war at this point. They now have 3 countries that are lobbying at them with these. They killed 21 IDF soldiers in one strike yesterday. They used a rocket launcher, and the men were all inside a building where they had set explosives because they had found a tunnel and a mortar rocket set that would shoot off 30 missiles right there. So they were going to blow all of it up and collapse the tunnel. And they shot through they took out the tank too, went through the tank and hit the building with the explosives. And they didn't have time to get out. They didn't see it coming, and they didn't have time to get out. Some of them are in critical condition, pray God, and some did not make it. Like I said, 21. It's a horrible number to lose in one day. Now, the IDF takes prisoners. Um, we didn't take prisoners in World War II because they really just couldn't walk around with prisoners. And all they're doing, and they don't know, these people are keeping their uniforms on. They're running around Nike and sandals. I mean, just like my pop down the street. And if they walk into an apartment and they say, "This is my grandparents," the people in the apartment, I go, "Yeah, yeah, 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 he's our grandson. He just went to find food," or whatever. Because otherwise, Hamas will kill them eventually. Even if they don't get them that day, they will get them and their entire family if they can. These people are not just, they're not tightly controlled, they're hostages as well. And that's the other thing I don't think anyone's either talking about, or they're missing the fact that these literally they're holding the Palestinian hostages. These people aren't stupid. These people aren't sitting there with three grandchildren and two children still in high school and watching them put together rocket launchers out in the backyard. But if they say something, if they're not just to make an example of them, they shoot that person, they shoot the rest of the family. And these days, the poor Gazans in particular, I'm saying Gazans instead of Palestinian, because I believe there's actually several different types there. But they'll kill them. They'll kill every one of them. And sometimes they'll just kill the person that said it and leave the women and children alone. Sometimes they'll kill the women and children and leave the dude. These guys are evil. They're more than evil. I can't stress that fact. Um, it also seems somehow for me to be connecting to all of the paranormal activity that has ramped up. And yes, I know there's more of us looking. I know there's more equipment that can see it. Uh, and this takes time. I mean, it used to take time when I used to watch Ghost Hunters. They had to use wires. It didn't, laptops weren't just coming out at that point. But their cameras were the old, so it would take them hours to set up and then hours to take it down. And now they're wanting it on their phones and they're talking to the other side using a particular app. And these are all on their phones. So it doesn't take what it used to take, in other words, even say 15 years ago, it doesn't take that. I think I can hear my husband in the background. That's his TV. I reckon he can't turn that down while we're on live. That's the way he is sometimes. I call him Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde because that's what he does. He's all nice. See if you can see. Oh, aren't they lovely? A new set of yellow roses. I don't know if you can see them today. Let's try. Yeah, there they are. So those are for me today. Even though I ran out, did some errands, and got all that stuff done. And he's making spaghetti. He makes meatballs with that. The gray ghost won't leave his side. I'm sorry, he has been neutered and everything, so someone threw him out. Robert has caught people doing this, and he's told them, we can't afford this. We just do what we can to keep them alive. I don't know what I did with that. There it is. Um, and so the person drove away, but I don't know because the timing. And the poor wee baby, if we hadn't found him and he hadn't dashed in the house that way, he may have frozen or starved to death because he didn't eat. Because I didn't leave it for him. The others weren't going to let him eat it. I didn't know he's out there. And so I fed him only once in 4 or 5 days that I knew he had eaten. But he's litter trained and he just adores Robert. He just lays on Robert purrs. I've been giving him his antibiotics. Mm, excuse me. um, Along with a little bit of gabapentin to treat the pain a little bit, a few grams. The antibiotics are working. I didn't realize that at first. I thought he had just a little cough, but he had a severe bronchitis condition, at least an upper respiratory condition, I should say, because I'm not a lab tech and I'm not a vet. I'm just a grandmother going, well, this is what we would do here. Let's check with Google and check with the vet and see what we can find out. Because a vet's office, just to see the animal, is $175. That's before they do anything. So it's difficult for us. We have to go and we get coupons and work for, wait for them to do the half off and, to get them all done. It wasn't easy to get them all spaded and neutered, but we did it. We managed, and now we have a new cat with another litter box that Grandma's going to have to take care of. But that's okay. So I wanted to go ghost hunting. I've seen several times where people get together. Sometimes, if you're lucky, they have like, what do they call, like giveaways or draws. You say, yeah, and I'm subscribed, and so I'll like or whatever. And if you get in there when they like number something something whatever, you can get to go on a ghost hunt with them sometimes, or some merchant or whatever, just to interact with them. And so I like to do that on my own time. I don't want to do that yet on my podcast because I still think that would be stepping on toes. So I'm going with my own thing, like with the shadow. They call it the shadow man, the hat man. The hat man is the same thing as the shadow man that I've seen, and they stand there. And they're there. They're not going to leave till they're there. They know they're on camera, and they know when you see them. And then they get in areas that are totally inaccessible for a person to have gotten to in a second and a half. There's no wall. It's just outside. Gone. And this is outside, inside, around here. I have Plus everybody's got these cameras. They got the GoPros, they got the outdoor cameras. All of them ring connected to their phones, so they're seeing it real time. So we're seeing, like what was it? The Miami walkers. They had it just walking along with these big feet. Didn't look like they had a head. Looked like just these big long white feet and legs. It was the oddest thing I've ever seen. I've seen fairies. I mean, it was a real fairy. It jumped up off an apple orchard in front of a father and two kids who'd been looking through the apple orchard. This thing, it was like a dragonfly, but it had a head, it had arms, and it had feet. It had feet like skis. It's strangest feet. It was probably about that big. But the guy got the best footage I've ever seen. I mean, he got this thing on camera. It was real. They call it a fairy or pixie. I don't care what they call it. But this is the stuff that our great, great, great grandparents told me. Nobody would believe them. They were witches, they were crazy, they were whatever. So nobody talked about that stuff except the little children. And little children were taught, as I can very well testify to, you didn't see that, don't talk about that, that doesn't exist. Hmm. Turns out it kind of does. But I didn't have the equipment to prove that back then. I had a few things that I did manage to get, but I kept to myself. I ended up scouring libraries in 15 counties around me to get to some books on anything that was paranormal. I even had ball lightning literally come through my house. I actually had to find ball lightning because I had never known about it. And yet, by this point, we had started to get search engines, the AOL and stuff. So, I'm like, what is this thing? And ordered one of the timeline books from Times Magazine that had a feature story on it because I couldn't believe it. My son and his friend were there, and it hit the tree outside the house. Huge crack. We thought the tornado, we were under tornado activity. So I thought maybe the tornado had taken a tree down. And about that time, that ball of lightning went and come through the house, the wall on the other side of that tree. And I grabbed the boys, and my son said, "Mom, you threw us back behind the couch. We didn't know what was going on." Because I didn't know what this thing was, and it's sparking. But it's a sphere of white and blue color, and sparks. And I'm watching as it drifts across the living room where the kids and I are on the couch, and the kids behind the couch, and I'm throwing pillows on them. I don't know what's going on. And it goes to another wall, and it goes, you hear that like frying sound, and you can see like it fried the wall a little bit. So I went through that wall and I had to know. I got up, and I'm right behind it, maybe a foot behind it when it does that through the wall. So the next step I take is into the master bedroom. It's come out in the master bedroom. And I see this thing. It's almost like somebody's controlling it. It goes about halfway up the room, and then it veered and went through that wall. So there was a wall opposite it, but it didn't. It veered and went through the wall. Strangest thing. Then I ran outside. I was, oh, it might still be out there. Not a sign of it, except you could see the lightning strike killed the tree just by blue smithereens. It was a big tree, and it wasn't 6 feet from that wall. So we were lucky that it was ball lightning, that it wasn't the lightning type that hit that tree, because there would have been a problem, I think. Um, So I like anybody that's been through tornadoes, hail, all this stuff I've been seeing. I haven't usually had to run through too much of that lately. It used to storm chase. That was a lot of fun. Well, we did have one problem. Me and Heidi were out, and it was hailing like orange size hail. I mean, his stuff was coming. It dented my car to pieces. Took out the windshield, took out the back shield, and she's screaming. And I'm trying to drive, I'm like, shut up. It's not going to change anything. Quit screaming. My ears are bleeding. She couldn't do it. She just kept screaming and covering her head. So I'm trying to block her out. I'm trying to find any place that's, covered. Finally, I see a viaduct, and there are a few other people under there. But I get there because this is not a tornado. If it was a tornado, I wouldn't have stayed underneath it, because a tornado, when you get under there, it makes it stronger and it'll pull you out faster. So it's a bad place to be. Don't go to an underpass when there's a tornado in your path. Hit the ditch if you can, and get out of your car if you can. It's like a trailer park. The old cars, and then they like to throw them trucks around. So I've had, I don't know, 4 or 5 tornadoes. Even when I was a kid, there was having them across the street and stuff, doing a lot of damage to even our roof. Half of our roof was taken one year. So these aren't things to be played with, but we didn't have the equipment they've got now. So I love it when they're out chasing. I'm on there watching, like, you might want to back up. It's coming around, because they're the ones that you're following. And suddenly that sucker turns around. I kid you not. You can't make this stuff up. It turns around, comes right at you like it. That's what you're doing. And there's no road. So you've got to turn around, and how about the other way? Let's see if you can get through that one. And so I'm like, okay, here we go again. So that worked for me. So today's whole thing was about, like I said, the shadow people, the hat man. I don't know what people call them. It's out there. Everybody's got it. I'd love to see some chat about that. See if anybody else knows or has experienced that. I myself have not yet seen a shadow thing or person, except on video that I've talked about on those shows, and they're very good at picking up that video. Because again, even 30 years ago, they would have told you were crazy if you were seeing this thing, run across or just stand there and look at you. Ghost of Carmel, Maine is another good one. He got one. He walked into the bedroom. He followed it. He knew after he's been there a little while, older man. So he had seen. I think he had found it, and the door was shut. And he opened the door, and there was a drape, and like a wispy type of drape, but it wasn't. It was blending in with the drape. And when he opened the door, it turned into this like blanket with feet or something, and jumped down and morphed as it did. It was like Hollywood. It was so weird. And it went down to the floor, and it scared him because it was unexpected for some reason. He went back a little bit. So he didn't get all of the footage, but he got that amount. And the footage that I'm seeing is beyond belief. It's just something else. Like I said, there's a necromancy on their phone app. I mean, they don't have to have 14,000 lines of wire and all this stuff. They don't even now hook them to monitors and stuff. The only ones I know that I really, really like to watch that use a lot of equipment is Twin Paranormal. I like them. Dark Ghost, he's Russian. They got some stuff going on. And Tim Moore is Russian also. But they don't, and they bring some equipment that's pretty good. But I've seen both of them attacked by something. You could almost see an outline of it, but attacked viciously. I've seen furniture thrown at those guys, and they didn't back down. I would have been in the next country. See ya. I saw Dark Ghost lifted by his throat in the air, a good 1.5 feet off the ground. And these are on static cameras. So the cameras are still rolling. And this guy is, he's dropped his walkie-talkie, whatever, and he's trying, and you can see he's not at his throat. He's here trying to get whatever's here and choking him to let go. And suddenly he kind of goes limp, and then their arms and legs will be splayed out. And I'm like, oh my God, I've seen that happen to them a couple of times. And those scare me, because these guys find it's not a rich place in some places, Russia, even in America, if you're in a rural area, it's not that rich. And so these guys are out in places where it's not, populated. Sometimes they'll have electricity. Most of the time they don't. They're brought there because the parents or aunt or whoever it was that owned it died and gave it to them. But when they moved in, all these paranormal things started happening, and then the guys go in, and it is amazing. I've seen them pushed, shoved. I've seen furniture thrown at them. I've seen knives thrown at them. I've seen them hoisted into the air. I've seen somewhere that all the lights in the power will go out, and in the flashlight, nothing works, so they're completely in the dark. I don't even know if anybody knows where they are because they're like in the middle of nowhere, Russia. And they get the best stuff. They really do. And so, for anything paranormal, I like those guys. And Casper Sight, he does a reaction to the videos that are out there, and he's funny as he can be. I think he used to be a shock host or something, but he's pretty good and he gets good videos. And King Frostmere, shout out to all y'all. Entertainment purposes only, folks. Go over and see their sites if you like it. Send the bell. I think they're very good at it, and it saves me a lot of time to find them myself. So if anybody wanted to talk about those things today, I decided I would hopefully steer back to that topic if I got off. And I do tend to go over here and then over there while I'm talking to you guys. So anybody have any of those experiences, please set them down in the comments. I would love to know if, especially the boomer generation like my age group, has anyone seen a ghost? I have been petrified by something in the window of my kitchen when I was growing up. And I don't think I have enough time to tell you, except that I believe it was a demon and I couldn't move. In my head, I was running and screaming. No, not an eyelashes moving. Happened to me twice there. And I was always afraid of the basement, but that have to be for another time. There was a reason I used to, and have all my life been interested in the paranormal. And my cats are also decidedly curious and have decided that Mom's been up here too long. So I hope everybody has a great night. Y'all be safe. Know that I do appreciate each and every one of you. Do please hit the like if you're on Facebook. I know it's a little long, but give me some help here, guys. Throw that like in, hit that share button. Tickle the bell, subscribe for me. It doesn't cost anything. I can only keep my free channel for so long unless I get a certain amount of analytics, they call it. Basically, I need viewers. And of course, any topic that you would like to speak of, I would too. Ancient aliens, ghosts, it doesn't matter to me. I love all that stuff. And when I was growing up, we had no one to talk to about those things. So I'm looking forward to all the suggestions in the comments. And I want everyone to have a safe and beautiful day, no matter the weather, even if we have to work. So apparently, I'm going to have to end you guys so I don't go over because they don't like it if I make them too long. So, good evening. God bless. Okay.